Alright, part 3 of Warframe. So, I did a little looking into it, and seeing all the missions, the ones I can't replay, from what I've seen, other than these two, of course, are Heart of Deimos, Limbo Theorem, Sands of Inaros, Hidden Messages, Glassed Gambit, Mask of the Revenant, Veilbreaker, and Angels of the Zeraman. So, I won't be able to show off a bunch of those, but I will be able to show off, like, main story, basically. And for right now, next one was going to be the Stolen Dreams quest. Now, the first part was supposed to be capturing Maru. I don't know why it's having me skip over that. But for now, it is doing a stealth mission, or spy mission as it's called. So, I decided I'm going to mess around and show off Ivara a little bit. She is a skilled huntress for a stealth frame. I remember her passive just gives her enemy radar, so enemies show up at a better range for her on the minimap. Yeah, there's Maru.
With the Grenier itching to torture
Just gonna go like this real quick.
I've accepted your Lotus's offer of protection. In return,
so her abilities have many different effects. First ability, if you tap it, it changes the arrow type. Cloak arrow, you shoot it out, and while it is pretty small right there, that's because of my range value, it gives a small little zone that you can, you and allies can be cloaked in. Dash wire, you fire that, and it creates a zip line that you and teammates can walk across. Noise arrow gets enemy attention in an area, and sleep arrow puts them to sleep, making them vulnerable to finishers. Second ability, Navigator, lets me take control of a projectile. So if I activate it, and then I activate Cloak Arrow, I am now in control of it. And it can give crit chance and all that sort of stuff. Or not crit chance, crit damage, the longer it's in flight. But it drains energy quickly. Then we have, I'm going to skip the next one and go to her ultimate, Artemis Bow. You have it, and it fires like a shotgun. Yeah, it's a really good exalted weapon. But my main setup with her, because I'm doing spy vaults and all that, is Prowl. This is a complete invisibility ability, and it will not be cancelled if your weapon is silenced, but it will be cancelled if you perform any sort of action like sprinting or sliding, for example. So you want to just like spam roll, basically. It will also be cancelled if you shoot a non-silenced weapon or perform a or run out of ammo. Or not ammo, energy, sorry. So the main strategy for this is just sneak on by for a spy vault. I also have a augment that makes it to where I can bypass security systems. And since I'm invisible, I already bypass in any spy, like any cameras in the area. And this sort of thing, that's where the augment comes in. The augment lets me just pass through those without even triggering them. Yep. I used to have a major problem with those ones, but now I've been doing a lot better with it. I mean, especially since they gave us those Parazon mods and all that. Oh yeah, and also bows count as silenced weapons. That's part of the... Don't know what just happened there. But it's part of the reason why her weapon is a bow to begin with. So she can use this freely without exiting stealth. There is the lens, however, which is a non-silenced weapon. Yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, and I forgot, Prowl also gives a headshot multiplier, and if you're close enough to the enemy, you will actually be able to loot them like such. Just stealing any loot off of them if you're able. Nice shot there, dog. So yeah, whenever I play a spy mission, if I have Ivara, I just do this. And honestly, I play solo when doing those as well, so I don't like have any like additional problems with it. Just gonna go like that. Yeah, if you fully charge the bow, I think bows get an additional like amount of damage off of it, but a like slight thing about it is the spread pattern changes. If you just tap, it's vertical. If you charge, it's horizontal.
The data vault is nearby. Do your best and try not to trip the alarms.
I remember you gotta do a Grineer one next, and Grineer spy vaults aren't too hard, but like it's less annoying than Corpus, that's for sure. Corpus ones just get way too frustrating with all the security beams and all that. I wonder, can I? Oh. I was about to just shoot a dash wire, but okay. So yeah, the only other character that can do this sort of thing is Limbo, but his doesn't grant him invisibility, so you gotta be careful with the cameras. And, you also gotta make sure there are no enemies nearby because they could set off the, security alarm. The countdown timer of the vault being cleared only happens if the, countdown timer happens, like, while they're in the vault. So, if you trigger security beforehand, you don't have to worry about it until, like, later. What the... Oh, sure, that's an interesting dash wire. So yeah, just be sure to not, like, bullet jump or anything. Man, how'd they not notice that the elevator's being called? Where? Oh yeah, and any kills gained while invisible, when enemies are not being all like, there's an enemy nearby or whatever, that will give you a stealth multiplier for affinity. So, like, you can get up to 500% affinity with it, making Ivara really good when you have enough efficiency to, like, gain the ability to just generate a ton of affinity for melee weapons, really. I mean, it does work for ranged weapons too, but depends on the weapon and if you have a silencer on it. Now that's just messed up. I forgot what the exact process was for, like, removing that sort of security thing, but still, that's gotta be dumb.
Told me to tell you to get to extraction.
What's really annoying for Ivara, her parts drop from spy missions, and it depends on the tier for the spy mission. If it's, like, low tier, then I think it was the neuroptics. Middle tier would be the chassis, and max tier would be the systems. And again, it's a chance drop. You don't have to perfect the vault, so, like, even if you trigger the alarm but you still manage to get the loot, you can get it, but you have to get all 3 vaults. If you lose out on one, you're not getting an Ivara part. Honestly, for me, like, I just managed to get Ivara Prime, and, like, just recently I was able to get her parts through the circuit, so I said, screw it, I'm not, like, grinding for her, I'm just doing a circuit run for her. Oh yeah, and affinity, by the way, is gained through completing objectives and, of course, defeating enemies. I think you can also get affinity through, like, scanning objects in the environment, but I'm not sure. Why did that say expired? Well, that's a somewhat useless discount for me. Yeah, it's a Grenier one next. So, I don't really need to worry too much on Grenier, so I'm just going to swap to Baruuk. So, yeah, that was Ivara previously. Baruuk is a more recent Warframe, and just like a later frame Hildren, they can only be obtained late game through a syndicate here in Fortuna. So let's head here. Yeah, Grenier Spy Vaults, I find them a lot easier. You don't even have that timer countdown or whatever when you're hacking something, so it's not as frustrating as Grenier would be. So Baruuk, he's a funny one. He's a pacifist. Now, some people may be saying, why would there be a pacifist ninja? But that's the funny thing about him. So he has this restraint gauge, as you can see right there, and, like, that's part of his passive. The more it's gone, the more damage reduction he gets, up to 50%. You remove it by putting enemies to sleep with Lull. That's the second ability I just used. Dodging attacks with Elude, which has a specific range value to it, but if your range is high enough, you will block attacks in all directions, so long as it's not AoE, or it's like bouncing off the floor. And it completely goes away if you attack. For a limited time, however. The ability will stay active so long as you are, like, not attacking and you have energy for it. So yeah, like this. I forgot I could parry with that. So yeah, and then his third ability is called Desolate Hands. He spawns some lawn darts, basically. Each one gives damage reduction up to a maximum of 90% damage reduction, and the percentage will go down once you get lower than 9 daggers. So the more strength you have, the better.
We'll start destroying data.
I'm just gonna instant hack that. Yeah, this one's easier because it's only 2 vaults for this. And yeah, I have a speed boost thing because I equipped that mod on my Parazon. Also, you can give your teammates about half of your Desolate Hand things. It won't take away from you, but yeah, you can only give them half what your maximum is. So, like, they won't get as high of a damage reduction value, basically. I didn't even know I still had some to scan here. Huh. You learn something new every day. That's the Baruuk scan? Well, that's interesting. So yeah, and his 4th ability is tied to his restraint gauge. Now, using it will rebuild restraint, meaning that you'll be losing damage reduction over time. But in the meantime, so I said this guy was a pacifist. Let's call him a pacifist with anger management issues, who's also an airbender. Because, yeah, he throws genocidal fists of wind at enemies when in this state. And it has different styles. If you're doing standstill, the attack pattern is like that. If you're moving forward, it has that sort of pattern. If you're holding block, then you do a pull, a vacuum sort of effect. That was a big range. If you perform a slide, it'll lift enemies into the air. You can do this mid-air to get headshots. And slam does the same thing as the lift, I believe. And oh, my restraint gauge is maxed or refilled, so yeah. So yeah, it is a good ability because it's not tied to your like restraint and all that, or not tied to your restraint, tied to your energy. But it is annoying on the fact that you need to have your restraint gauge done in order to utilize it. Also, the only reason why I was able to get away with breaking that security drone with no problem was because I was able to deal enough damage to just insta-kill it. If I didn't have enough, then it would have been alerted and started the countdown timer there. Wait, why is there a 3rd vault? I remember it. Oh yeah, you're only required to do 2. But doing the 3rd one gives a little bit extra, I guess. Get off. Oh yeah, lol, by the way, the sleep ability there, it has a line of sight requirement, and it doesn't instantly put enemies to sleep, it instead slows them by a small amount going up over time before sleeping, or before putting them to sleep. So it will at least reduce enemy damage output in the meantime.
If you trigger the alarms now, the enemy will start destroying data.
How's that not breaking? Okay. Going to just sneak on through. And that was me triggering the alarm. Okay, good job, me. Magnetic proc. Let's just get this over with.
Data integrity verified.
Right, can't head out that way.
You've got the codices, and there's nothing more.
Alright, well, the enemies are alerted to my presence. Let's go! Alright, now they're less likely to be alerted. Also, a little tip about Baruuk. When he puts enemies to sleep with lull, they actually lose their alert status, meaning they instantly get put back to the unaware state. Also, I have Resonant Storm Augment, which makes my Serene Storm, the 4, deal whatever the enemy's weakness is in element all the time, and have increased status effect chance based off of my ability strength.
Operator, have you looked at these codices? They're absolutely.
Do I have to do another stinking corpus one?
Grace. I've never seen anything like
Oh,
it.
for crying out loud, fine.
You're capable of writing anything so perfect?
But you still have no idea what they mean, do you?
Alright.
Not
Showing off Caliban now.
wouldn't expect the likes
This
of you to
one
understand.
is a sentient Warframe. I'll talk about... Actually, no, that would be spoilers, because this guy has an ability tied with, like, a later thing. I'll go with Chroma instead. Chroma is a elemental master sort of frame. While, yes, he is not as effective as a later frame, he's still extremely good, especially with his damage output. Alright, so first ability is Spectral Scream. Now, if you tap it, it lets you swap your element. You get different benefits based off of which element you have selected by your one. The first one, fire, just a normal flame breath. Second, ice, electricity, and then toxic damage. His passive used to be that if he was, like, his element would be based off of your, immersive color in your setup, so that was kind of dumb, screwing with fashion. Because, yeah, just like Destiny, basically, the end game is fashion. But, to go with that for Chroma, now you can just swap your element type mid-match, getting different benefits. Your second ability, Elemental Ward, gives a buff, just like the others, based off of your element type. Fire increases health and grants health regen while damaging nearby enemies. Cryo gives damage reflection and increased armor. Toxic is status effect, chance, and I forgot what the extra effect of it is. And electricity, I believe, was a shield buff and like dealing electric damage to nearby enemies. Third ability is called Vex Armor. It has two effects. Whenever you take damage to your shield, you absorb the damage as, like, granting you armor. If it is to your health, you gain increased damage for the duration. The ability is recastable, so you can refresh the buff whenever you want. And then his fourth ability, which I don't have equipped right now, is, I forgot what the ability was called, but, Chroma, so he's got this dragon motif to him. That is a pelt. He can actually unequip it, and it becomes a floating sentry, basically, dealing elemental damage based off of the one you had equipped when you activated it. And during that time, Chroma would lose his armor but gain movement speed during it. So it made him lose his armor because he's dropping the pelt for a turret, but he also gains a large amount of movement speed based off of his ability strength. Okay, so this one. Yeah, I know I'm doing mainly just spy vaults, but that's most of this stinking mission. The ability I have equipped right now, by the way, is a different ability tied to a certain, like, thing you'll be introduced to later. This ability is called Empower. When you activate it, your next ability cast, you cannot recast Empower during that, but your next ability cast will get increased ability strength. Up to 50% is what the perk does. And the Empower perk is not affected by ability strength, nor duration. It is, however, affected by efficiency on its cost. So, if you have this perk, or not perk, if you have this ability, just put it in for if you're wanting to buff up a already strong frame, basically. But only if it has an ability that you, like, are willing to get rid of.
Excellent work. A clean
All right.
extraction with no alarms.
One last vault, and that's it. By the way, I'm not sure if I pointed this out before, but those guys with the bubble around them, nullifiers. They will completely turn off any ability you have active on you if you walk into that bubble. And some abilities even, like, just get completely cancelled if a nullifier walks into it, such as Limbo's Cataclysm ability. If you do a range Limbo, good luck, the nullifier is gonna say no. Just gonna cancel that out real quick. I have a ton of just instant skips. Unfortunately, some activities won't even let you use these just instant hack items. Okay, so... thought for sure this thing would activate. Well, this one does. Yeah, if I was Ivara, I would be able to just walk through those without any issue. Well, with the augment, of course.
Data extracted.
There we go.
They won't even know it's gone. We have all 3 codices. You may extract now.
Out of my way, mate. Give me an icy sheen over there. For me, the reason why I equipped I equipped the Empower ability is just so that I could use Vex armor with even more stats, since I'm basically unkillable right now. Like, to show it off, yeah. Look at that armor and damage increase. And then increase that by 50% right there. Like, that just makes Chroma one of the tankiest frames. He isn't the tankiest, but he can definitely take a hit. Alright.
These make sense.
Find the
This is
arcane machine.
Wants to interface directly with a machine. Pity that machine has likely into dust.
I'll show off Citrine now. Citrine, you can only get through Deimos, well, technically how it works is you gotta go here and do this activity to get the resources used at Deimos. But of course, you also have to unlock Heart of Deimos to be able to go to where you need to be for that.
Would the code still
So let's finish off this one,
To find out. Tenno,
and
get
once
ready to
that's
go
done,
inside.
next one I'll head to Cetus to show off Saya's Vigil for you. Now, Citrine is a supportive frame. As you can see, she's got a little HUD icon there. That gives me 5 health regen.
This is it.
And if I pick up a health orb, then it increases by 0.1%. Or not percent. By 0.1 health per second. Up to 200 health orbs collected, giving me a maximum of 25 health regen. And with that, it also applies to allies in my affinity range. Mods that increase affinity range do not increase the range of this perk. However, the support focus school, I forgot the name, does give an increased range to this perk. First ability is she'll send off a quick swipe that fires off crystals, and if a enemy is hit, they are marked by it and have a slash proc applied to them. That if the enemy dies while the slash proc is applied, they will drop health and energy orbs. Chance of it increasing with ability strength. And that is extremely useful for benefiting her passive. Her second ability, you cast it, it grants her and allies in her affinity range a damage reduction buff up to 90% at max. And you can increase this by defeating enemies, assisting in defeating them, and its benefit can go up based off of ability strength. As you saw, I have it maxed out at 95, or not 95, at 90% instantly. Her third ability is a sort of turret, basically. You toss it out, and if you damage an enemy, it will deal damage to that enemy as well, applying up to 4 element types, being the basic few, like what Chroma had. And so long as an ally is near it, its duration is increased, as well as its status effect chance and all that. Finally, her fourth ability, she will perform a leap, and as you can see those little trails there, they will seek out enemies, deal damage, and if they are not immune to crowd control, they'll be basically petrified, and if you hit the crystal there, you get guaranteed red crits. So 300% crit chance if you hit that part. It does not count as a headshot, but it will be able to just boost your crit for any low crit weaponry. And yes, melee weapons can get this bonus.
The machine I pulled the final arcane codex from. You've got the full set of codices. Upload them and
Okay,
say
just interact with
hello
that.
to treasure.
Be silent. Hushed and empty. It is the womb of the sky. All is silent and calm.
I would like to be able to see, game.
Is the womb of the sky.
What just happened?
No clue.
The machine. It's gone. Tenno, watch out.
Oh, that's not a destroyable nest, okay. Well, time to get out.
Tenno, I don't know if we got the answers we came for, but there's nothing more for us here. Exit the derelict and head for extraction.
What? Where's my damn treasure? I was told there would be treasure.
Whatever that was, it wasn't here for our benefit or yours. Only time will
Oh,
tell
okay,
what we
just
uncovered.
boost me up instead of pull me towards you. That's fine, I guess. Also, yes, performing a slide, you can actually deal damage to enemies. This won't actually count as a kill for you, even though you'll get XP. So, a YouTuber, one of my favorites for Warframe actually, Triberos, was doing a Stug-only run, and he found out that you could do that to make sure that you don't add kills to your account while still getting the XP. So if you decided, hey, I'm gonna use this weapon only, then yeah, just do that, and none of your other weapons would get any benefits out of it. Alright.
So you're saying there was no treasure? No cure for cloning syndrome? No lost tenocephalon?
Ordo, there was nothing.
That really is a shame, Baruuk. I'm sorry.
Nah, I'm used to it. When you don't run with any of the major factions or syndicates, the big paydays are few and far between. I'll manage. Listen, I can't say it hasn't been fun, but with the arcane codices gone, I think it's safe for me to venture back out into the wild. See ya, tin suits.
Now, an interesting thing with her, because this is on Mars, you can actually head to her bazaar over here after completing that mission. And when you do so, you'll be able to talk to her weekly to do a mission type of running through an Orcan derelict or a void tower and collecting a Iatan treasure. Iatan treasures can be brought back to her and extracted for Endo. Now, a little mechanic as well for Iatan statues. As you progress through the game, occasionally you'll see a cyan star or amber star drop. If you go to mods and you select it, you can put your cursor over these to insert the star, increasing the endo you would get from these statues. At a certain mastery rank, you can press triangle and it'll auto-equip all of them, making the statue active and giving you the most endo out of it.
You've come to the right place.
So you just go like that, turn in, and done.
A beautiful piece. I guess you'll appreciate the endo more.
Endo is used for upgrading your mods too. This NPC back here, we'll actually see her in a later story thing, but you can talk to her and you'll be able to get primes. Now, yes, you can pay real money to get the Regal Aya resource, so that you could just straight up buy these. They will be with the Warframe, any of their customizations, some additional endo, and all of their weapons, and, like, additional stuff like companions. And this one, of course, gives both benefits. So you unlock both frames at once. Honestly, I would say it's kind of worth it, but if you don't really have the money for it, you can go to the Void or do defense missions and all that, or even just buy a relic thing from a vendor, well, some of them anyways, and you have a chance of getting normal Aya. These can be used for buying the relics, which you can use for getting prime parts. Prime parts would be the same as just farming for a Warframe, basically. But if you get void traces from opening these things, then you can use those void traces to increase your chances of getting the higher tier ones. Commons always have the highest tier chance. Uncommons get a decent one to a really good drop rate at higher tier relics, and the rares have the lowest chance out of all of them, no matter its rank, but having it at a max tier relic, which is 100 void traces, basically gives you the highest possible chance of a rare. So yeah, you can farm for the frames in order to get their chances of dropping, or try for their weapons or whatever, but you won't be able to get any of their Cyandanas, armor, or anything else like that. I mean, there is this Cyandana, but that's not even a prime. And yeah, 5 traces for 1 Aya, that does not seem worth it. I would say 25. Because of how low of a drop chance Aya is.
Good.
Oh yeah, and of course to go with that, right now is Ash and Inaros, but in 3 days they're going to be rotating out with Mirage and Banshee for frames. I don't have Mirage right now. Well, actually, I think I haven't checked in a while, but I am trying to get these two. I'm just missing like 1 part for each of them. And just like with normal Warframes, a part takes 24 hours to finish, so 1 day, and a Warframe itself takes 3 days, 72 hours. You can use Platinum to speed up the process. And a cool thing about this game is if you go to trade, like in Maru's Bazaar there, or in a dojo, you can actually trade prime parts and mods and all that for platinum. Yeah, you could play this game basically completely free and get platinum just for playing if people are like up for trading platinum and all that. I mean, heck, you could get almost all of the skins for Warframes in the game, too. The only ones you can't get are the Tenogen stuff. Tenogen, for people who are new, if you see an icon like that, that was a player-made skin for, like, weapons, Cyandana, all that kind of stuff. And some of the money spent on these goes to the creator of that item. So as you can see, like this guy, Felix Leonhardt, if you were to buy this Heavy Blade skin, some of the money spent on that would go to him. And so on and so forth. Like, all of these. And I really like the detail DE puts into their game. It feels less like, give me your money, because I want money, and more like, play our game, and if you like it enough, we would appreciate any, like, donations, basically. Because the only thing that is a requirement on spending actual money on is Regal Aya,
Did you hear that?
basically.
It said,
And Platinum if you want to speed
"Cosmic
things up.
background radiation is a
But
riot."
for Platinum, again, you could just get that whenever, like through trading or through buying. So it basically does feel like this whole game is just like asking for donations rather than just straight up saying to pay for it. Heck, none of the updates even cost money. There's not been a DLC for this game. So if you want, and you're willing to do so, you could spend Platinum to just buy frames straight up with a Orokin reactor on them. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say for this end segment here, and next time we will be heading to Cetus and the Plains of Eidolon, doing the Saya's Vigil quest. This is the quest for unlocking Gara. And this is also the quest for unlocking bounties in the Cetus open world area.
Under control. Resistance. Crush.
So yeah,
Troops.
I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.